AL East. By the way, special guest incoming for AL East. By the way, Peyton and Scott. Peyton and Scott, you know him well. I'll put that way. I might be having a little poutine for dinner. There's your hint.
Yeah, there you go.
I talk to him every day, so
I hit him up today asking if he wanted to talk about the Red Sox. And he said, shit, sorry, just saw this. And I went, you're not even late. We're literally about to talk about the AL East right now. So I'll hop in.
No, you said poutine, and that's what got me confused because I'm pretty sure that's a Montreal thing.
No, it's just Canada in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have that all over. Canada's right there. I can see Canada, other side of the river, right?
Before he shows up, we'll talk about the Yankees. We'll get them out of the way. Tough news about Garrett Cole, obviously. Definitely plays a big part in what we're going to talk about in terms of the Yankees' overall outlook for 2025. I love their offseason. If they're not going to get Soto, obviously it's an L in that regard, right? You don't get one.
Just have him now. Just have him now and pray.
Slandering the Yankees, he's here.
Well.
John, I was just saying how despite losing maybe the best player in the last 15 years, I didn't hate the Yankees offseason. But I'm going to defer to you real quick as a hater. You'll be able to poke some holes in my opinions. What do you dislike about the Yankees offseason, and how do you think they fared overall?
I think a little better than the haters seem to think they did, but not as good as maybe some of the homers think they did. I think, especially with the Cole injury, obviously that's not directly related to the offseason, but I think with the Cole injury, the rotation it's a little scary right now, but I think there's some upside in the lineup. I like some of the young guys. I think Cabrera and Volpe could have some big years, so I'm interested to see what they're going to do. But I think they deserve to still be the AL East favorites, so I don't hate it, honestly. I wish I could, but I think there's a little more upside than maybe they're getting credit for.
What's the definitive difference for you between New York and Baltimore baking in the Cole injury? Because to Winnie, when I saw the Cole injury, that to me, I get Baltimore hasn't shown it in the playoffs, but to me, I was like, they've shown it in the regular season. That made Baltimore the shoe-in for me.
I don't hate that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Grayson Rodriguez just got shut down too. I think he had some sort of PRP injection. Their rotation is not much better. I think there's a real case to be made that those two rotations are at the bottom of the AL East, which is kind of crazy. But I don't know. I think I still have the Yankees by a hair. I'm not really sure why, but something in my gut just makes me feel like I trust that more. I mean, Adley fell off really hard the second half of last season. There's definitely still some holes on Baltimore. The rotation, like I said, stinks. But I don't know. I think there's going to be at least 4 teams competing for that division. I think the Rays, you never know, but the other 4 teams I think are going to be solid.
I'll sum it up in 20 seconds. Guaranteed winning record, Paul Goldschmidt resurgence, Goldschmidt RBW invest. And they're going to win between 85 and 89 games, probably make the playoffs. Done.
No, they're winning 93 games.
No, they're not winning 93 games.
Ben Rice is hitting 35
I'm going to let you go on it.
Ben Rice got like the 100th percentile.
What?
I'm being serious.
Ben Rice's average exit velocity this spring is 99. Average.
Oh my God, dude, you like?
I don't care,
dude. All right, this one's just for John and Scott. Ethan Fisher could average 99 exit velo in spring. I wouldn't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. It's fake.
It is true. It's like I'd love to know because there is a stat now. I just learned about this a couple days ago. The quality of competition. Like the pitchers that you're facing. I don't know if it's just a spring training stat or I just learned about this, so I would love to know what that is. But I don't know. I kind of like Ben Rice too. I mean, he did hit 3 home runs.
Ben Rice.
He's projected at like a 118 WRC plus after playing 50 games. Like he is a major league hitter.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's being a major league hitter and there is being a plus to plus major league hitter, and there is a huge chasm between that.
Did have a 600 OPS last year. It felt a lot higher.
He was incredibly unlucky.
3 of his 7 home runs were in one game.
He was incredibly unlucky. He had like an X slug of like 515, and his slugging was like 390.
Drew, the biggest thing that you need to remember is that when a guy plays in such a small sample size, right? It's really easy.
Small ballpark.
Well, that's also valid, but I'm sure you'll all get my point of, hey, you can do really well in a small sample size. The more you play, the more you get exposed. So it's not a one-to-one translation in terms of overall talent. Is Ben Rice going to be a positive hitter? Very well could be. But I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to pencil that guy in for like a 115 WRC plus, especially with the amount of playing time he's had. If he OPS is like 99, if he has like a 99 WRC plus,
he has an OPS of 99, he's got a problem. He's got a 0.99 OPS. He might be down in AAA pretty quick.
I think you mean OPS plus.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, I get that the projection models have him as like a one, like anywhere from like a 102 to like a 110, but like, dude, even if you take zips, like, I don't think you can just take zips.
Nobody likes zips projections quite like Scotty B.
Fuck off, dude.
But you know what I mean? Like, you can't just take zips.
Yeah, no, I was definitely exaggerating with 35. But I do think Ben Rice is going to give a lot of the value that would be lost from Giancarlo Stanton. And I don't think it's Stanton
Hall of Famer?
Like Stanton over the last 2 years has been a 18 WRC plus hitter.
Is he going to play as many games?
I don't think
that's a borderline all-star. Like, if you're a 118 with good defense, you're a lock for the all-star game.
But Giancarlo Stanton is he is as slow as an elderly man and doesn't play defense.
Isn't Ben Rice a catcher DH?
Ben Rice is a first base
catcher, first base.
He's a catcher. That's first baseman.
John, my point is he's slow as shit. It's kind of the point I'm trying to get across.
Well, yeah, but he's not like he's going to be slow, but he's not going to be like 0th percentile sprint speed.
The old 0th percentile.
I don't know. I mean, I think with the Yankees, it comes
Ben
down
Rice
to
last year was a 52nd percentile sprint speed.
That's pretty good for a first baseman too. Like, that's pretty good.
And he's like 6'5". Like, he's long.
He's 6'1", but
is he?
Apparently, I would have told you he was tall.
This is like a Tinder profile. It's like this dude's definitely not 6'5".
I love his plate discipline. I think it's an incredibly I think his floor is a lot higher than most other minor leaguers coming up to the big leagues because of his in a 50 game sample in the major leagues last year, he still maintained a 20.6% chase rate, which is really good, and an 11% walk rate, which is really good. I'm not trying to throw a ton of water on it. My point being is I caution you to say that a guy that finally cracks the bigs at 26 is going to be he'll be good as if Giancarlo Stanton was healthy. That's a tall ask, no matter what.
I need this to be on the record. I'm much closer to Carson than I am to.
And that's fair.
Don't hop on the train later when Ben Rice is an all-star.
I don't need to. I don't have any reason to invest in Ben Rice.
He's going to be an all-star?
Yeah.
At
DH. Austin Wells is going to be an all-star at catcher.
He's going to be an all-star DH.
All right. To be clear, all right.
No,
John?
He's not going to make an all-star team over Yordan. It's not going to happen. But I do think
Devers very good DH now too.
Dude, he's too good.
Devers
is what you're asking them to do. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yoshida is going to DH for the Red Sox.
I'm pretty sure Devers said, and so did Casa said he's a third baseman. So, where do you feel about Toronto then, as a Canadian native?
That is me.
You're in the backyard of Toronto.
Yep, the gray white north, baby.
They feel in limbo, and the hard ball with Vlad to me for a team that seems to not be able to reel in a big fish seems outrageous.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through? I mean, I assume the people you interact with, it's a lot of Jays fans.
It is.
You said you think they're going to be solid though. Do you think that their thought process is we're going for a 90th percentile outcome and that'll make Vlad stay?
I think the first part of that's definitely true. I think the 90th percentile outcome is Santander repeats his last year, Bichette and Vlad bounce back. Springer kind of just stabilizes things. I think they really do need those things to all go right for them to be a playoff team, but The vibes, I will say, the vibes up here are not great. The Blue Jays fans' vibes are as low as they've been in a while. I think, obviously Vlad was great last year, but Bichette was terrible. Like I top of my head, I don't know Springer's numbers, but I'm pretty sure they fell off a bit.
He was like league average.
Yeah, which, and he's getting older. He's got to be mid-30s by now, so I don't know how much you can really bank on from him. But I don't know. I do think there's a lot of upside in the lineup. The bullpen got a lot better. I like them getting Jeff Hoffman. I think that's nasty.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think Gosman's gonna bounce back a little bit. I don't even want to say bounce back because he had like still just an average year, but for his standards, I guess it was a little down. But I don't know. I do think they're gonna be right in it till August and September.
I don't get the Jimenez trade. That feels
that one was
weird.
I forgot about
taking on that contract is so odd to me.
Yeah, that
and they didn't
really
like
weird.
get that much in. Like they gave up Horwitz to get not that great of a player and take on a really big deal, and they didn't get anything else in return.
So okay, if I may interject, if Jimenez is like league average, I think it's worth it. So that's what you're banking defensively. Like
yeah,
and also if you're banking on a Gausman bounce back, right? Like so, Kevin Gausman in the second half was like a 2.9 ERA with a 1.1 WHIP. He also had like a 7 K9. So Gausman kind of in his old man game has learned like, yeah, there are going to be days where I'm going to have my elite splitter and the strikeout rate's going to be phenomenal. But there's also going to be days in which I have to be, the grizzled vet gamer veteran, and I need ground balls to get outs.
Which is good that Jimenez is there now. If that's where he's going with his,
their defense could be
career.
vastly improved.
That's why I think that Jimenez trade makes sense, especially with Barrios. Barrios has never been an elite strikeout guy. I think the thought process with Toronto is like, listen, we got a lot of guys that they can get strikeouts, but they can get out, but they also get outs. Maybe traditional, is that the word I'm trying to look for? More traditional sense. So I don't know. When I think about the Blue Jays, I'm like, I think their thought process was we're trying to load up on defense.
Yeah.
So I don't
hate it. That's just, in my opinion, like it's the Jimenez one, there's some good, there's some bad to it. I think it's a tough move to sell to the fans. A lot of fans, especially up here, I think are still relatively casual. They look at the batting average. They look at the homers. They don't look at a whole lot else. And, he's a great defender. He's great by like the analytics measure because of his defense. I think that's a tough move to sell to your fans as like the big move. Like maybe they view it as Santander, maybe it's Hoffman. I think that's probably one of, if not the biggest move, was getting Jimenez. And that's a tough one to sell to the casual part of the fan base, which is not, like I said, in good vibes right now. So I think that's, a big part of why the vibes aren't so good. But I do think there's some upside to be had with that deal. But it could go either way.
I mean, I'm biased because I've got.
I mean, the big downside is the money. The fact that you're committing like 20. What is it, like 22?
It's like 20 mil.
Next 3 or 4 years.
3.5 war player. Are you that upset about it?
I can't believe Cleveland ever gave him that contract. That's so funny. Like obviously
Cleveland
thing to get it off the books, but
it goes back to what Scott was talking about earlier. It's like Cleveland never pays anybody, and they lasted a year and a half of paying Andres Jimenez. They're like, we got to get out of that shit. Like
10 mil this year.
By any means necessary, we have got to get that money off the books.
Yeah, like it's insane. So he's got 10 million this upcoming season, 15 the following, and then 23 for 3 seasons, and then the club option in 2030.
Wow, that's a lot of years. I didn't realize it was that long.
He's not a UFA until 2031.
Jesus.
Scott, how you feeling about the Jays, man?
Yeah, what's up, Scott?
I don't really appreciate John being here. Is kind of my take. I think I don't know, like the whole AL East is really fascinating to me. I am shamefully like high on the Red Sox and low on the Blue Jays. Like I said this at a little while ago, like with the injuries that the Yankees are dealing with and with the offseason they had, like I really think the entire American League is like the most up for grabs it's been since, what did I say earlier, like pre-Houston dynasty. Like it like in almost a decade. Like this is kind of the most wide open the AL has been, and obviously all of that is going to kind of like start and end with the East, just because of all of the talent and money that was spent in that division this year, and Toronto. Like, I understand that like it's not my money, but I would have either gone all in or all out like 2 years ago on this. Like, I would have either gone fuck it And like I guess they tried. Like they
I was
flew
gonna say,
Ohtani out.
they made the effort.
That's the
Right,
thing. Is, yeah, no
allegedly.
one took the money. Like,
Right.
And they offered
Allegedly
Soto
flew
$700 million.
yeah,
Ohtani
and
out.
Ohtani, and even like Alonso. Like there was
Who,
conversation.
who
Right.
can forget? Who can forget Ohtani touring the Jays minor league facility to then sign with the Dodgers 24
No,
hours
dude.
later?
Who
Yeah,
can
and then
forget-
being a
oh,
finalist
I
for
saw
Sasaki just for him to have never even like considered them.
Yeah.
What was the? I saw Ohtani at a like sushi. Like it was the most racist thing ever. It was like we saw
Yeah.
Well, there was,
Ohtani.
like, the whole plane thing too.
don't
Like
even
John Morosi saying
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
wasn't
plane
on
was
the
here.
plane.
John,
He
It was
wasn't
like
even
some-
on the plane.
John,
Yeah,
John,
Crazy.
I'm
And then he
hearing-
came out
I'm
with his
hearing I
dog
saw
being
Kyle
named
Tucker at a
Decoy
Tim
a week
Hortons.
later.
What was that? What'd you say, Carson?
I said I'm hearing Kyle Tucker was spotted at a Tim Hortons in Alberta. I
You got a
think
20-pack of Timbits loaded.
I think we can confidently say he's signing with
Dude.
Toronto.
It's crazy.
I
If
would-
I put that out there for my unnamed employer, I think that would garner some pretty good interactions because people would buy that.
I think with the Blue Jays though, like I really am not big on them at all this year. I think they should have traded Vlad a while ago.
Whoa, what? When?
What?
When would
Well-
you have traded Vlad?
A
I
year
guess
ago.
assuming you're
When
going to
he
play hardball
OPS
with him.
778 or whatever?
It was tough with where his value.
I don't know. Maybe at the deadline. Then I guess like that's fair. But like this winter, like we're in spring
This
training
winter is
season
my-
starts
yeah,
in a
I guess
week.
that's
Like
true.
I would have. My thing is, even if they re-sign him, okay, like they whatever it's going to be, 500 mil, 600 mil, whatever. Even if they re-sign him, they are not going to become like more attractive to free agents, and they're not going to, which is then going to have them like spend more money on top of that. Like they already have Vlad, and they can't get anybody to fucking sign there. Like I don't know, man. I don't trust the pitching very much, which is so wild because I don't know, like 12 or 18 months ago, I would have said the opposite, but like I don't love the pitching anymore. I genuinely think, man, I might have them finishing last in the AL East.
I do think they have the lowest floor of the 5 teams in the AL East, but I think there is a lot of upside still to be had. The rotation, I can see the argument on, but like I wouldn't be surprised if Scherzer was, a serviceable 3 or 4 starter, and Gosman, Barrios, and Bassett are fine. Bowden Francis was good.
There's
Definitely the lowest
another
floor.
team in the AL East that is playing in a minor league park. I'm picking them to finish last. They don't have a plate like
They have Devil Magic.
That doesn't
though. The Rays
matter.
Devil,
That doesn't-
Rays Devil
they-
Magic is crazy.
John.
Dude, they
That's
played-
stolen valor. Only my organization can have double
I
magic.
should
They
probably-
have played in a minor league park for their entire existence, dude. It's not like new.
Good take. Yeah.
This isn't like
Listen,
some.
I hate
oh,
that shit more
I
than the
said
Mets.
earlier
we're
today
playing
that
in a
CMS is better
shithole
than
now,
them.
like they literally always have, dude. That doesn't mean anything. That
I said
don't know if-
unironically earlier today that GMS is a nicer field than the Trop.
yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Laughing
disagree
this
with
out,
that at all.
sure.
I totally agree with
I also think it might be better to help Brandon Lau stay healthy if they're playing on grass.
It can't hurt. You got to try something.
Honestly, yeah.
Even most of their rotation too. Anything that'll keep McClanahan and Boz and all of those guys healthy.
Like I think that is like something that is like could help legitimately people
Yeah,
stay
but
healthy
here's the issue though.
playing on a natural surface.
When there's been
I'm looking at the
1
lineup
year of
right
health
now.
and
Good
5
God.
years of 70% playing time, at a certain point you just got to get, hey, like Brandon Lau is going to give us a really good 425 plate appearances, and that's what he's going to give us.
Yeah.
I think that's just
Yeah.
what the Rays are at right
They
now.
definitely have like 3 other guys with the last name Lau and their minors coming up anyways because they just seem to fire.
No,
like,
well, right,
all those
exactly.
out a year. So they'll
John-
be all right.
John, I want to make it perfectly
Brandon,
clear.
Josh.
Like John, you and I might end up giving the Rays 150 plate appearances, 105 WRC
absolutely. I'm a
plus
switch
ball.
hitter too. They're not gonna know.
That's what I mean. It wouldn't like none of this shit would shock me. Like straight up, like and
Well, they
Scott's gonna give him 35 innings of 10 K9 ball with a fucking like
Scott's having a knee injury within
0.97
Dude,
ERA.
yeah, what?
Scott's on the
You
60
are-
day
no,
before
dude,
the second inning of his first start.
I am Dontrell Willising my leg like the third pitch of my outing.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm looking at the lineup like this. It stinks. They have Caminero hitting third, which I like Caminero a lot, but that's a lot to put on him, like to expect out of him
Is it
already. I feel like that's like,
I feel like he has a big enough ego to just kind of eat it and like say,
definitely.
yeah,
And
I'm the 3-hitter and I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna be the guy.
For sure. I think he could. It's just that I think that speaks to how bad, like the rest of the lineup, at least on this, what I'm looking at have behind him is Lau, Danny Jansen, the 5-hitter, like that. So
well, they're also going to be adding Ha-Seong Kim in like 2 months.
Yeah,
because he's not expected to be back until like May, June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a big boost to like they're playing.
There is John. Talk to me about the Red Sox and talk to me about future Cardinal Tristan Casas while we're here.
So I'll to address that real quick. If they had traded him for Arenado and even Herrera, like I think that was kind of like the rumor being floated, like Casas, Yoshida, Arenado, Herrera, like
which would have been good for you.
Would have. I literally
really. Who are you out on? Are you big on Casas?
I don't know if there's a single person, including Tristan Casas or his parents, that's higher on him than I am. He's Matt Olson. He's Matt Olson with aura. Like I can't get enough.
I agree. I love Casas. I agree.
I don't want Arenado. That's kind of beside the fact. Even I had no interest in Arenado. But if they had traded Casas for just the 40-year-old carcass of somebody who's declining in every aspect of baseball, the long and short of it, I guess, on the Sox, Devers is going to DH now. That was a whole thing. That was like the news yesterday and today that he kind of pulled back on his earlier comments about, being so stubborn about playing third base. But so I do think, so they've had Christian Campbell, like the prospect, has been playing a lot of second base the last week or two in spring. Bregman's only played third base. They haven't played him at second base at all. So I think that's kind of out of the question on him, which leads me to believe that they really want Campbell there to start the season, or, maybe it's Vaughn Grissom. But I think Devers is going to DH.
I'm a noted Vaughn Grissom hater, not because he's on the Red Sox or anything. Even when he was on the Braves, a guy in my fantasy league glazed him endlessly when he got called up by the Braves. I fucking hate Vaughn Grissom. When they made that trade, when the Red Sox made that trade, I was like, L of a trade.
It doesn't look awesome.
Did not think Sale was going to become a fucking Cy Young. So like, I'm not going to victory lap that part of it, but I'm a noted Vaughn Grissom not enjoyer. So
yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's got a great name. Vaughn Grissom is just a really strong,
elite name.
Great name. Yeah, like that's like a
certainly passes the name test.
Yeah, easly passes the name.
4-win name.
That's at least a 4-win name, which he needs because he's not accumulating a whole lot of WAR on the field. But that trade was terrible. Craig Breslow's not good at his job, but yeah, Sox.
John, how do you feel knowing the Cardinals have hired your GOAT? How do you feel about that?
Genuinely, this is like the was it Dan Gilbert, the Cavs owner, that said we're gonna win a championship before the self-proclaimed GOAT when LeBron left. That's how Chaim Bloom should feel. Like Chaim Bloom is gonna win a championship before the self-proclaimed Boston Red Sox. I hope he does. I hate the Cardinals.
You see what you just did?
Don't clip that part. Clip the part he said before.
I hate the Cardinals so much, but Chaim Bloom should still be here. He did his job and then some, and I hope nothing but the best for him when he.
Scott, can I give? Not Scott. Excuse me, John. Can I give you a take that I had when the Bregman signing hit?
Yeah, please.
If Devers was unwilling to move from third, my genuine opinion was, I don't give a fuck about Yoshida or Story. I said I'd have put Bregman at shortstop. I've been like, fair. That's fine.
I like that more than this, like trying to jam Yoshida into the lineup when he's a 110 WRC plus guy. That
I agree. I don't understand why that wasn't more of a conversation. Only because like I would have been fine DHing / super utility storing. We'll say that that's the correct English.
Yep.
But I'm like, Story has shown the ability. He could play second, third, short. He can DH. I'm like, I would have made him a little bit more versatile and gotten a little bit more.
$25 million a year. I think the Red Sox are they have too much pride in that not pride, but like they're too stubborn in that contract to not have him play shortstop when that's his primary source of value right now is an elite defensive shortstop. Like putting him at second base, sure, I'm sure he's fine. DHing him here and there, I'm sure he's fine. Putting him where else, he'd be fine. But right now, for a guy making $25 million a year on just a terrible contract, the maximum value you're going to get out of Story is at shortstop. which sucks. I wish he wasn't on the team. I wish Yoshida wasn't on the team. There's a lot of idiots I wish weren't on the team.
I do also want to say John has hated the Story contract from the second it happened.
The second it happened, I am documented in Diamond Digest being like, pay Correa, which, not that that's going a whole lot better, but the Story contract was never a good idea.
Do you want to swap Story and Javi?
They're basically the same player, so sure, why not?
That's crazy.
Okay,
That's crazy to say.
You heard it here.
One of them can't play.
Clip that. John, let me ask you though, do you really think that Story's value is best served pigeonholing him at shortstop every day? Because I've seen him play second. I've seen him show a willingness to play third. I feel like his best value to the Red Sox is being the utility guy that enables Devers to be happy. Casas plays first, and then DH gets to remain, I guess it would be Yoshida's, but it gets to remain that sort of either Yoshida / roaming DH spot. I don't know. I feel like Story is talented enough where there's the pride with the money, but I feel like if you have the conversation of listen, we're paying you the money, but we also think you're just straight up talented enough that we're going to put you in 3-4 different spots in the lineup because we believe in you. I don't know. I don't think that that's a disgusting thing to do to him because it also opens up second base for Christian Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this does hinge on him. I think if Christian Campbell makes the opening day roster, which if I had to say right now, I think he's gonna. I think they really want him to. So I feel like if he comes in and mashes right away, or is even just 110, 120 WRC plus out the gate, which would be awesome for a guy nobody knew at this time last year. I think if he does that, then it opens up a lot of options where you can have the roving DH, a roaming DH sort of thing. Back to my last point, I really just think Story, if you're going to get maximum value out of him at this point, it's he was pretty high up there in all the defensive metrics still at shortstop last year. And I don't disagree that he could, be a really good second baseman, but I think they want Christian Campbell to be the second baseman. I think they still, with how bad that Vaughn Grissom trade looks, I think they want Vaughn Grissom to work out. I think they're more worried about having Grissom and or Campbell work out than they are, moving Story around. I couldn't care less what they do with Story at this point. If he got DFA'd tomorrow, I couldn't care less. I appreciate what he does in the clubhouse. He seems like a good dude that works hard. He's never been able to hit outside of Coors, and he can't stay healthy. I couldn't really care less what they do with him.
Eat some money, trade into the Tigers opening day shortstop.
He'd be your two-hitter, dude. Please take Trevor Story off of my team. I'm more than fine with
Scott, would you really be pissed? Would you really be pissed if you paid Story half price and he was your opening day shortstop?
What? Yes, that's ridiculous. Yeah, Trey Sweeney played shortstop for the Tigers,
but Trey Sweeney sucks. It's kind of
the second half. I mean, he doesn't.
He's Jordy Mercer with PR. That doesn't move.
Okay, I'm not even going down this rabbit hole. They're not. One gets paid $25 million more than the other, and
you'd be paying half.
Bad. Okay, one that's still going to cost me 13 or whatever mil, 12 mil.
It's a lot of little Caesar pizzas.
Trey Sweeney slashed 218, 269,
you don't have to tell me what Trey Sweeney slashed. I'm very fucking aware of what Trey Sweeney slashed.
Okay, well, it feels like you're not because you're saying he's good, and I'm showing you the numbers that say
I didn't say he was good. At no point. Please show me where I said Trey Sweeney was good. I would love to see myself say that.
Editor, insert clip here. Photoshop if need be. But Trey Sweeney sucks. It's kind of my point.
Second half. I mean, he doesn't.
He's Jordy Mercer with PR. That doesn't move.
Back to the Red Sox. Why are the Red Sox completely against having catchers that are not ass?
Man, I could not.
They traded away their GOAT.
Exactly. They traded away Kyle Teal.
Fucking legend.
I know. I am a big Connor Wong hater. He's not good at any part.
As you should be.
He was hitting.
Yes, Connor Wong is bad.
They had him playing second base last year. He was in the 4-hole for some part in the summer. I don't much care for Connor Wong. Narvaez, I know they're really high. The guy that got from the Yankees,
he's a very good defender.
Yeah, they're really high on his defense. Which, personally, I've always been of the camp. I don't care if my catcher OPS is 500. If you're an elite defender / framer, that's fine by me. Especially with this kind of new look pitching staff we have. I'm fine with that. There's another guy, I forget his name, Sobol, something like that. He was the backup for the Giants.
Blake Sobel.
Yeah. They brought him in too, and I think they're pretty high on him as well. But it's all relative. They're high on guys
They
that
also
are
have Sebi
best
Zavala.
backups.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Sebi Zavala, who might make the team out of camp, which is insane because it's bad. It's been a really bad situation. Even on like the good Red Sox teams of the last decade, the catchers haven't been good. Like Christian Vasquez was not good. Sandy Leon, my goat, was not good.
Yeah.
Reese
I don't
McGuire, pretty good at one thing.
Reese McGuire, good at only one thing. Trading 3 prospects for Danny Jansen last year. Craig Breslow, really stupid at his job. Like it's been bad.
I don't know why Teal was the one who had to go. I would have.
Yeah.
I think if I was a Red Sox fan, I would have been much easier to part with Mayer than Teal.
I think that's fair.
I don't know about that.
I think it's just the ceiling of Marcelo that makes people so
Yeah.
he was.
That's true.
Top 5 prospect in baseball before he got hurt. Like his only issue was staying on the field and maybe the curveball. But I think there's just way too much of a ceiling there. But I see the argument against it. Like Teal was supposed to be the catcher of the future. We drafted him. Everyone thought it was a good, like we got good value for him at 13 or wherever they picked him. And I was pretty set on, okay, cool. We can phase Connor Wong to a backup. Catcher's figured out for the next 10 years. And now it's just not. Whether they have a plan for that, like Johan Fran Garcia is another one of our catcher prospects that a lot of people like down in single A, double A, towards ACL last year, but he's, definitely got floor of a backup catcher. I know people are pretty high on him, but yeah, it's bad. I don't much care to watch Connor Wong play on my baseball team a whole lot longer, but he's the last piece of the Mookie trade.
It inhibits the staff to have a guy who is
that
poor defensively.
Definitely. I know. Yeah. And it's especially with, you got Walker Buehler, who you're looking for a bounce back out of. Giolito, he's hurt now, but he won't be out too long. Hopefully, you're really banking on him having a resurgence. And like Bayo, a young, very emotional pitcher, he needs a stable catcher. Like a lot of these guys, obviously most pitchers are banking on a good defensive catcher, but I think specifically that trio really could use a better, defensive catcher, and Connor Wong is not that. So I'm not insanely worried about it.
And you could get a bump out of Crochet because the White Sox catchers are horrible. So if you go from a bad catcher to a good catcher, you're going to get a bump.
Absolutely.
You're going to steal some strikes. You're going to see some production increase, but instead you're going from bad to bad.
Yeah. I wish they would have addressed that.
Could have had Ivan Herrera, John.
Yeah.
Even though he's a fucking horrible defensive catcher.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know a ton about him, but I didn't think he was a good defender. Yeah.
No, he's not at all.
I wish they would have addressed that. I wish they would have fix the bullpen a little better, but overall, it's tough to be mad at what they did this offseason.
I'll be honest,
I think
man.
the Red Sox did a great job this offseason.
Yeah, I'm in on Hendricks as your closer, though. I
know
you said I wish they'd done more, but
spring. I like Hendricks a lot. He's a good dude. He seems very likable. I think he's easy to root for. I think he'll be fine, but he has had a brutal spring. He's had a brutal
spring, but he's touching the velo he needs to, and he's kind of in that. Earlier you talked about how like, oh yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all if Scherzer is like a dependable like 3-4 starter just like because of who he is. Hendricks is in that same camp where it's just like he's got that he's got that dog in him. Like sometimes it really is that simple. Where I think he's just got that ability where it's like if he's touching 96, I think he's going to give you good innings.
I agree. And I think one of my most boomer takes, this probably is my most boomer take, is that guys like that really thrive off of the environment they pitch. And like I think Hendricks pitching in a loud Fenway Park in August, September, hopefully October, I think really is going to bump him up, maybe ahead of even where he would be. A couple extra miles an hour on the velo. I think he's one of the guys that really locks in when he's got that atmosphere around him. So I like it. I hope it goes well. He's going to start the season as the closer for sure. But I think there's a world where it doesn't go well and Justin Slayton or Luis Guerrero is closing by June.
Oh, I love the Luis Guerrero shout. That's not bad because I know Cora has mentioned Garrett Whitlock as well as a guy that could see some ninth inning action.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys are going to see. I think it's going to be one of those seasons where even if Hendricks does stay the closer, I think there's going to be 6 or 7 guys that have a handful of saves. Like Aroldis Chapman's going to be in that conversation too. I wish he weren't, but unfortunately he is. I think Whitlock will definitely get some saves because they love Slayton. I think Guerrero's going to get a good shake at the closer role if it ever becomes available. There could be 5 or 6 guys that end up with, multiple saves even just into the summer. But I do think there's a world where that's a huge problem. I'm not worried about it yet, but I think it could be a big problem if Hendricks.
Where do you feel like their range of outcome is in terms of wins? Because I feel like anybody I ask about Boston specifically, the range is massive.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I will preface this by saying, and this is going to sound crazy, this is going to be a shocking take. I honestly was slightly lower on the Red Sox offseason than I think everybody else. I think they're getting a lot of A's, A minuses. I'd give them like a solid B, maybe B plus.
Okay.
Bregman's cool for the locker room. He's good defensively. The bat has fallen off every year the last 3 seasons, I want to say. Crochet's awesome. He was ridiculous last year. He does only have 1 season as a starter. Like, I don't think those guys are as sure bets as a lot of people seem to think, which worries me. I think people just want to be excited about something in Boston because it's been a while. With that said, at this point, if you're 85 wins is the floor. If you finish below 85 wins, something went catastrophically wrong. I think there's enough talent in the lineup and the rotation that if you finish below 85, that's not good. But I would say, 85 to 91 feels like my window. I would be on the lower side of that. I think they're going to be in it until September. I think they should make the playoffs. I don't know if they will.
I'll start out then. I'll give my 5-1 for the AL East. I think that's more than fair.
Please.
I'll be honest. I'm taking the Rays as like a surprisingly distant 5th. I think this is one of those years. The Rays do it every once in a while. Where I think most people are assuming the Rays are going to be 5th, just kind of because, or Toronto because. But I think this is one of those years where the Rays just have like a random reset year. I think they're going to like trade Brandon Lau. I think they're going to move off some pieces that they can't like slave labor control because it's Tampa. They're paying one guy and he's in prison. So
that's where he is.
Yep. So which is where he deserves to be. I make that perfectly clear.
Absolutely.
I will take Toronto as a competitive 4th place in this. I think I will ascribe to what Drew has referenced earlier, which is I think 4 teams in the AL East could make the playoffs. So I think the Blue Jays will be solid. I think I will take the Yankees to finish 3rd. I think the Cole loss is understated. I get he'll be in the dugout every day, but I really do think – I'm not saying it's to like bait 2 of the people on this call right now. I'm being fully serious.
You're not baiting me, to be honest with you.
It is very hard to –
You are baiting me.
It's hard.
I'm gonna fall for it.
It's hard to properly account for losing a sure bet every 5 days, and that is what the Yankees have lost. They have lost a sure bet
starter now, right? Like that's not good.
No, he's not.
I feel like he's.
I think Stroman's the 5.
He should be. He shouldn't even be in the rotation. Like I like Will Warren.
Schmidt is very clearly the 3.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't.
Will Warren and Marcus Stroman as the 4 and the 5, depending on
either way. I still think that's a concerning 3, 4, 5. But I do like Will Warren. I think he's gonna be better than people maybe.
So I'm gonna take the Yankees to finish 3rd. Like I said, I think that it's not because that they're gonna be magically ass or anything like that. I think pound for pound, Garrett Cole has been the best pitcher in baseball for the last 5 years, and losing that for an entire year, like that does matter. I'm going to take the Red Sox to finish 2nd, and I will take the Orioles to win the division. Whether or not the Orioles do anything in the playoffs is a different conversation, but the lineup is so stacked 1 through 9, and like there's good enough in this rotation and the bullpen. They're getting Felix Bautista back, and that dude is a fucking monster, and that should not be lost either. So they also are the only team that, like, if you told me that they traded for Sandy Alcantara and Dylan Cease, I'd be like, yeah, they have the capital to do that.
I mean, they should. Like, right now, who's starting game 1 for them? Like, if
they should have done that 4 months ago.
Eflin, like,
I agree, but my point being is, like, they'll
Mike Mussina is not walking through that door. Like
Sidney Ponson is not walking through that door.
Not Dylan Bundy is not walking through that fucking door.
Soul. Chris Tillman not walking through that door. Yeah,
he's not. By God, is that all Ubaldo Jimenez's music? Like, I don't know. I just think the Orioles are in a position where their payroll is so fucking low. Like, money's not real. They can go out and get whoever they want, and their lineup is good enough where come trade deadline, whoever has emerged as good enough to be traded for, whether it be John Gray from the Rangers or like literally anybody.
If that's their big deadline move, I don't know if they're winning the AL.
That feels like an Orioles deadline move.
John, my point being is, my point being is whether they're acquiring an SP4 or they really do need to go out and get an SP1, they're the only team in baseball where I'm like, they could conceivably get literally whatever they want.
They could.
So they're going to do it.
but they already have like 5 SP4s. I don't know if they really need to go get another one. Like everyone in the rotation.
Dean Kremer should be shot to Pluto. Like he's like not a good baseball. I still stand on the Orioles winning division. John, what about you?
Yeah, I don't hate that. If I had to go 5v1, 5-1, I think I'd probably agree with definitely Rays, Blue Jays. I think in some order are going last. Sure. Let's put some chocolate in my mouth because I didn't know I was gonna talk right away. My
bad.
No, you're good. I'd go Rays 5. I'd go Jays 4. I think I'm going Red Sox 3. I think. Yeah, I think the shortcomings of that roster, the bullpen, the bottom half of the lineup, that's going to be a problem. I guess I would go Yankees 2nd. I don't even know why. I don't feel like on paper the Yankees really are better than the Red Sox, but I just do feel like they're going to finish ahead of them.
Okay.
And it's tough to argue Orioles 1st. I think as bad as that rotation is, like you said, the bullpen's kind of back to full health, and the lineup is far and away the best in the division. We could probably even take it a step further than that, but it's definitely the best in the division. I think Adley will bounce back. I know we kind of talked earlier that he did have a terrible second half. I do think he'll bounce back, but it's tough to not have the Orioles 1st with the Yankees injuries. The Red Sox kind of still feel like, to me, they feel a year away. I still think the Red Sox are, a couple of the prospects fully acclimated themselves to being contending for the top spot, and like the Jays and the Rays aren't winning that division. But yeah, I don't hate that.
The 2 points I'll touch with you on that is they're getting Bradish back and they're going to get G-Rod back at some point.
What about Bradish too? Yeah.
So like, if Sugano by June is the 5, who gives a shit is kind of how I feel about
there has always been health issues with Bradish. He struggled to stay healthy.
Right.
And Grayrod, he's had really good spurts, and I do think he's an all-star caliber pitcher, but we've yet to see it over a prolonged stretch of time. So I think there's a lot of question marks.
We've barely seen it over a short stretch.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I do think there's a world where they finish 3rd.
We've seen it on he looks really good in one game. And
then he had a good couple
struggled his next time out.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say about Adley particular, he dealt with that, like he got hit on the wrist, and then that's when the stats plummeted. So for me, I'm just like, I'm taking the fact that like I think it's a safe assumption to say I don't think he's going to get hit by a pitch in an insanely inopportune place that makes him OPS 600 for 2 months.
I think that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair.
So when you talk about like Adley bouncing back, I think that's fair. Scott, how do you feel about the AL East? I'm saving the Yankees fans for last.
Dude, my AL East, I wrote all of my my division predictions down the other day, and my AL East is whack, dude. It is
Montreal Expos 1.
Okay, all right.
Devil Rays 2.
All right, dude. Yeah. The Washington Senators, I got really making a push.
Walter
here.
Johnson coming back for another Cy Young.
The Red Stockings.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. The Bean Eaters or whatever the hell they were.
That's the one. Boston Braves. Yep.
The Braves. Yeah, all of them. So 5, I have the Blue Jays, as I said earlier. 4, I have the Rays. 3, I have the Yankees. I still think that not only do you now have questions in your rotation, there has been and still is unanswered questions in the lineup, and I think they tried to address those in the offseason, and they could work and they could all be fine. I'm not like a Yankees like hater in terms of like their roster construction. I just think this is a really good division, and I think that while it won't – sorry, the Red Wings are playing on the TV behind, and they just blew a lead.
They're fucked.
No, I think that I guess that's kind of like the end of my point with the Yankees. Like, I don't think it'll be as dramatic as – I don't remember which season it was. One of the last 2 or 3 years where it was literally just like Judge and then a bunch of like toddlers. Right. Like I'm not saying it'll be like that bad, but I still think that there is a lot of like lineup depth concerns with that team. But they're going to get, if he stays healthy, like 10 fucking WAR out of one guy, and they have enough pitching. Like they'll be solid and they'll be in it, obviously.
What about Doogie? They got to bring back Alex Verdugo. I love that nobody signed him yet. He's gonna be like a
Alex
Pittsburgh
Verdugo,
tyrant.
Yankees opening day third baseman.
Verdugo's like the one player my girlfriend knows, and she just heard me say his name and texted me saying, "Fuck Verdugo." That's my girl.
Yep, let's go. She's
Yep.
Ferda. This is where my division gets really wild. I have the Orioles at 2 and the Red Sox at 1.
Wow. Clip that and send it to me personally. I know.
It pains me because John's just gonna hold it over my head for the entire season. But
hard hit into right.
All right, dude, fuck you. The Red Sox are going to lose 110 and finish in last place. Like, what? I say one thing nice about his team, and that's how I'm
and I got it clipped, and then I could just go back to what I wanted to.
That's so cool, dude. Marcelo Meyer, I hope.
Okay, wow. Crazy.
Jackson Job's way better.
No, for sure. Dude. Glorified Jordan Zimmerman, but all right.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yo, give up off home runs off of a few weeks ago. Like we were talking about this, and like he stinks.
Here, you know what? Here, I'll make a comment that'll piss both John and Scott off. Marcelo Myers glorified David Eckstein. There you go. Both people are equally both people are equally pissed off. Now, Scott, go ahead.
Crazy.
Marcelo Myers is David Eckstein with a less famous wife. Bang. Scott, go ahead.
Do you actually mean it this time, or are you going to say something again right after you tell me to start?
No, go ahead. I want to.
Okay, cool.
No, you have the floor is yours.
The Orioles, I obviously really like their offense. I am way down on their pitching. I know you guys touched on it, but I am like dramatically like in that corner. Like I really have serious concerns about the rotation and the bullpen outside of 2 people. Like I think that there's a ton of question marks there, and like I understand the premise of like, okay, we're just going to try and outscore our problems. That is very hard to do in baseball. Like that is something you can pull off in like the NBA, and like the Avalanche do it every year. But like that is very hard to do,
especially in a division that has other good offenses,
right? And fucking Mickey Mouse ballparks. So like it is.
It's like 600 feet to left field in Baltimore now. It's like Polo Grounds.
Yeah. I'm talking about the rest of the division. Yeah, you're right.
I'm sorry, you just call Camden Yards the Polo Ground? Because
center field was like 440 at the Polo Ground.
He's used to Fenway, where it's 190 to the pole.
You have no concept of how stadiums should work.
No, I know. I'm talking about the center field at Polo Grounds. It was like 450. That's what.
It was like 480 to Polo Ground.
Yeah, it was like 500.
Very different.
Like very close to 500.
Like now, like it's insane. I digress.
No, I think so. That is like my concern with Baltimore is that I just really don't trust baseball teams that try to do like we're just going to outscore everything. Like pitching is still king at the end of the day. And I think that they lack it. And even if they get some of those guys back, they still lack the depth, not only in the rotation, in the back half of the rotation, but they lack depth. Really, like what they're going to come back, and then I guess you can just kind of assume 100% health the rest of the year, but like not really, especially with the names that they have specifically. I don't know. I have serious concerns about that. And then Boston, I just think that I'm really high on the lineup. Like I think that that's a really good offense. And I think that if you are talking about a team that at full health can give you more pitching production, and at least in the starting rotation, than most of the other teams in the division. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, maybe more closer to like middle of the pack, but I know they have a lot of injuries right now and with the rotation and whatnot.
Bayo and Crawford are already all on the IL.
Yeah, right.
Starting the season on the IL. Not awesome.
So, like, obviously, start of the year that like blows, but I think that this is an offense that can keep their head above water, and that is a rotation that when it is at full health, I trust significantly more depth-wise than I do Baltimore, which is relying on 2 young players to come back from serious injuries. Those are easily the two most difficult demographics to predict in baseball, and they fall into both of those categories. So I think Boston has the highest floor, and I don't like any of these teams' ceilings. So I'm picking them to win the division. Is really where is really my mindset there.
That's fair. I love that. That's I'm here for it. I love it. I love it. That the lineup, I agree with you. There's a lot to like about it, and I hope Roman Anthony makes a team.
Dude, like that is legitimately like that. It is a lineup that nobody talks about in terms of like better offensive producers in the American League. And again, I'm not saying it's like the best offense in baseball or in the AL or anything, but like that is. There are guys that have the ability to be elite hitters, like pretty much like almost the entire top half of the lineup. And then you're talking about like youth and people with higher ceilings in the bottom half. Like I think very, very highly of the Red Sox lineup this year. And yeah, man, if they can just be healthy enough on the pitching side of things, I kind of like the stability they have more than anybody else.
But Duran, Devers, Bregman, Costas is going to be the 1 through 4. Story 5, but I don't care about that. But the top 4, I'm here for that top 4.
Yeah,
sprinkle in a little Christian Campbell, a little Roman Anthony, dude. Roman Anthony.
When are the big 3 up? Are all 3 up this year?
All 3 are definitely up this year. Like I said, I think Campbell makes the team out of camp. I don't know. Roman Anthony hit a ball literally like 450 feet yesterday. I think he should make the team out of camp. I don't know if he will.
He won't.
He probably won't. I think he should, though. And Meyer's not going to make the team out of camp because he didn't get any reps in AAA. He got called up to Worcester last year, but was hurt and didn't play. I think they're going to want to give him a month or 2, and if Story gets hurt, Grissom stinks, whatever it might be, they'll give Meyer his chance. But they're all up this year at some point for sure.
Hell yeah! All right, let's see what the Yankees people think of this division.
I think Rays 5, and I think it's mostly by choice. I think they will sell off a lot of their hitters. I think Lau and Yandy will both probably go because I think both are free agents after this year.
They did pick up Yandy's option today, I think, for 2026.
They did.
Oh, so maybe not him, but Lau is definitely a free agent, so I think he will go, and I think that will lower their trajectory a lot. For Toronto, I think their rotation, the back end of their rotation is going to be really bad. And their bullpen, even after adding Hoffman, is like Hoffman and Yimi Garcia are the only 2 arms in that bullpen that are like reliable major league relievers. And I think depending on 2 guys in your bullpen is not sustainable. And I think their pitching is going to suffer for it. And then the third, the top 3 is really close.
Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree.
I think in third I'd go Baltimore, honestly.
Wow.
Because I think their pitching is going to suck.
Yeah, dude. I am with you.
They might be the worst pitching team in baseball.
All right. Well, not fair, but I agree with you that it's going to be a huge problem.
My team is innocent.
Like I think they are going. Like you're relying. Like they're. Like are they starting 37-year-old Charlie Morton opening day? Like 37? Is that what they're going to do?
You think he's just 37?
I think he's 42.
They need a lot to go right.
However old he is. Are they starting him opening day? Like 35-year-old Tony Giordano who has pitched 0 major league innings?
Probably.
Like these are guys that they're putting in their opening day rotation. Like and relying on them to give them innings. And I think acting like regardless of the lineup in the bullpen, I don't think their bullpen's going to be that good. They paid Andrew Kittredge $10 million, and he got knee surgery last week and will probably not play until at least later in the summer. And then, like, I just don't think their pitching is going to be anywhere near good enough to sustain a 90-plus win team.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think there's like unless Bradish and Grayrod both come back and make 25 starts and are very good, their ceiling is upper 80s. And that's ceiling. Like if they have more injuries, it could be worse. And then second, I think I have, like, as a Yankee fan, I think I have to go Boston. And the issue I have with Boston is a lot of their hitters significantly overperformed last year. Like, Connor Wong was the third luckiest hitter in baseball.
Dude,
And
he
then
had the most dribble singles like I've ever seen by a player ever. I believe that.
they had Connor Wong was the third luckiest hitter in baseball. Tyler O'Neill, who isn't there anymore, was the 23rd luckiest hitter. Wilyer Abreu, 29. Jarren Duran, 49. Yoshida, 51. Rafaela, 61. And Bregman is 63. So that's 6 guys on their current roster out of the top 63 luckiest hitters in baseball last year. I think regression to the mean is kind of you have to expect it for some of those guys at the very least. And I think if Bregman's playing third, I think it improves their outlook because I think their infield defense will be a lot better with him there. But if Devers is playing any third base, their defense is going to suffer, and they have a horrible defensive catcher, which will hurt them. And I think relying on, like, a lot of people are kind of assuming health with Buehler and Crochet, which I think is kind of something that you can't really do, considering these are guys who are high risk for injury. Like, it's just something that happens. Like, there is no team that goes through a season without anybody getting hurt. It's just what happens. And so I think a lot of people are kind of expecting the Red Sox pitching to stay healthy, and assuming health is never really a good thing to do when you're projecting a team over a full season. And then the bullpen is, like, there's a high ceiling for the bullpen, but there's also an incredibly low floor because you're expecting old man Liam Hendricks and old man Aroldis Chapman to be quality relievers for a team that wants
about Chapman. Holy
fuck. For a team that wants to be a playoff contender. And that's tough to do.
It's insane.
Especially when you compare it to the Yankees bullpen, who have Devin Williams and Luke Weaver at the end, and they have a lot of other guys who I am very high on. Well, obviously, biased aside, I do think they have a lot of guys that are solid pieces in the bullpen. And I think the Yankees starting rotation is going to be a weakness. But I think their lineup issues outside of third base are exaggerated a little bit. I think third base is a big hole, and they should have filled it, and not filling it will be something that comes back to bite them. But I think Jason Dominguez in left and Bellinger in center and Goldschmidt at first and Rice is the DH until Stanton is healthy. I think they can sustain a pace that is better than Anthony Rizzo putting up like -1.5 WAR last year, and DJ LeMahieu putting up -2 WAR, and Alex Verdugo being one of the worst hitters in baseball for most of the year last year. Like, the Yankees had a lot of really bad players playing consistently last year that was covered up because they had Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. And I think losing Soto is a huge blow, but the Yankees have a lot less of those black hole, horrible players on their roster that are going to be getting playing time. So I think, like, I saw, obviously it's a projection and it's hard to say, but the Yankees right now are projected to get more WAR from the combination of first base, third base, left field, and center field than they did last year from first base, third base, left field, and Juan Soto, because Judge will be moving over to right.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that feels fair. Yeah, I can't agree. I can't disagree with that. Can't argue that.
So, like, losing Soto obviously isn't, like, you're never going to want to lose a guy who's that good, but Judge is going to be getting a boost in defense because he's not playing center field where he doesn't belong anymore. And then you also, obviously, I'm hoping for Bellinger to get the kind of short porch bonus of being a guy who loves to pull fly balls and doing it well in Yankee Stadium. And so that's my main hope, is the Yankees see a lot of production out of Goldie and Bellinger and kind of pick up some slack. And then the young guys are effective in what they can do.
Peyton, we'll wrap it up with you.
Well, real quick, I want to, Claude, how many wins for the Red Sox this year?
Yep.
No, give me
Yep,
a number.
she's right. No, you're
me a
damn
number.
right.
That's
You're
it.
damn right.
That's
Give me
the
a
right
number.
answer.
I'm not telling you. Give me a number.
50.
Oh, 50, 50 wins for the Reds. They would be the worst team in baseball if they won 50 games.
50
100,
and
there we go.
112. You heard it here first.
You're 50 and 112.
Fuck
Boston
you,
Red Sox.
Austin.
You know what? An improvement for Garrett.
No,
Cole
dude.
today.
Her first answer is honestly that should be on a T-shirt.
Not
How many
enough.
wins for the Sox this year? Not enough.
Not
Dude.
enough. That's
Not
my
enough.
dog.
To relax. Okay, Tampa Bay 5th. Let's just get that out of the way. Originally, I was so low on Baltimore's pitching that I had them 4th, but then I remembered the lineup. Let's not try to be unbiased for no reason. Completely unbiased for no reason. So, Toronto's 4th. The New York Yankees are 3rd. As high as Drew is on everyone, I'm not as high. Paul Goldschmidt is the idea of OPS 120, we're fine. Cody Bellinger, it's use the short porch and we're fine. Bullpen, Matt Blake, continue what you're doing. It's just a lot of, and I guess you can say this for any team, but there's a lot of question marks that I personally am more familiar with. That it's just a lot for me, and that those only get exacerbated by, Garrett Cole getting injured, and now Marcus Stroman, who the Yankees were actually trying to deal 2 weeks ago, is now the number 3 starting in the rotation, and will be starting at least one of those games in that opening series. So there's that, and also just every single vibe from this offseason going to spring training has not felt great. Other than facial policy removed.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
huge
that's
dub.
fine.
That might be the
That's
move
a
of the
big dub.
offseason by any team.
Dude, that's the conqueror of fucking worlds right there, dude.
Yes, sir.
I also
Totally.
think the 7
Yankees
million
can
trade is
finally
really good.
sign Muslim
My
baseball
God.
players. That's fantastic.
Oh,
news.
jeez. Baltimore 2, Boston 1.
Wow, I love it.
I had an explanation for Boston. I'm not even gonna waste time trying to explain myself.
I will say,
Aside from all this talk about Bregman and Luck, do you know where he's playing next year?
He's going to lead the league in doubles.
did you know where he played all of his career up until now?
He has like
Minute Maid
so
isn't any,
so
Minute Maid isn't
so-
any worse for a right-handed hitter who pulls the ball.
so about
Right. He's
from left field to the power alley to left field to dead center.
He's going from like hitters he's going for 2 hitters heaven from hitters like heaven -1.
So he does have the highest OPS of any player to play at Fenway with minimum 75 plate appearances. His OPS is literally 1,300 and 100 plate appearances at Fenway, obviously.
And now he's playing on 81 games.
I do think
for that
Bregman will
ballpark.
have a very good year.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he leads the league in doubles. He could still have like a 770 OPS, and I wouldn't be surprised. I put $5 on him to lead the league in doubles. So
The one
So,
thing that
go
I
double.
think the Yankees that has changed is Garrett Cole getting hurt frees up like $18 million of insurance money that it could actually like legitimately be reinvested because Garrett Cole's cap hit goes down because of it. So
yeah, that's a good
if
point.
they end up using that money to fill up a spot in the rotation or fill up third base, that could definitely have an impact. But losing Garrett Cole is obviously not worth that money.
So my actual full take was pretty much everything Scott said. I like the lineup. One Trevor Story wake up challenge from that also being a pretty good lineup.
Yep.
Rotation obviously better than the Orioles. Bullpen, depending on how high you think Felix Bautista on his own is, probably higher than the Orioles. I'm just feeling like it's a Red Sox year, and because it's a Red Sox year, there's always going to be that one guy that randomly just says, "I'm going to OPS 850 over 250 play appearances." Welcome back, Trace Thompson. Welcome back.
He has been so good at this point. He has 6 homers. He's our Steve Pierce this year. He might be World Series MVP.
God, I hate that.
John, that's not even a hot take.
Happens
The
to a
World
Red
Series
Sox.
MVP half the time is just like a rando that's got a hot couple weeks. Like Trace Thompson,
Yeah, like
reeks
Howie
of
Kendrick.
World Series MVP to me. Like that's the perfect pick for like a reasonable. You got to say somebody that like would shock and appall you if they won World Series MVP.
Absolutely. Yeah, Steve Pierce
Yeah,
would
like
have
a
been
team
the same thing.
A team with Juan Soto and who was it that Howie Kendrick won World Series MVP?
Soto.
No, Soto is the right answer.
No, Strasburg won it.
Strasburg and
Strasburg did win.
Strasburg won MVP.
I think Kendrick won NLCS MVP and could have won World Series MVP, but yeah, Soto on that.
Did his part to defeat evil. So Howie Kendrick.
But Kendrick was the best hitter on that team in the entire playoffs.
So unfair.
Angels legend.
Yep.
Halos legend.
People forget.
Which is like insane. Like if it was a hitter from that Nationals team that won MVP, it would have been Howie Kendrick rather than Juan Soto or Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Back when Anthony Rendon played baseball.
Anthony Rendon.
Quite literally this time.
Yeah.
Done for the season before spring training even started.
It's like so on brand. It's
literally
All
like
right.
2 days before he has to report.
We
Hip's done. I gotta go get surgery.